Yep.
All right, Al, welcome back. So good to sit down with you today. Unfortunately, Bates is out. I think he has Zika or something, and sick, so he's unable to attend today to do this interview for you.
Well,
So
you
you get
never
stuck
know.
with me.
You never know where he's been.
You,
So
you don't know. I mean, he was over in the Middle East there a couple months ago, and who knows what he brought back from there. So it may be a late onset sickness. But enough of that. Enough of that on Bates. I hope he's doing well. But hey, want to take a quick look back, man. I know you've done this in the past with Brad. I'm going to call this a little something different this week. So, kind of behind the dish with Coach Al Reddy. So, seeing
oh, I
as you
like
were
it.
a catcher back in the day, I mean, it only seems fitting to call this segment of the show behind the dish.
I
So,
like it. I think
um,
that might stick.
if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I've been called worse and had worse things done to me, so I could care less. So, hopefully, it sticks. We'll see, Al. But this segment is now called Behind the Dish with Coach Al Reddy from UIndy. So, quick look back. You guys are currently sitting 6-9 overall. And out of those 9 losses, you have 6 1-run loss games, which is crazy to me. And then you're 2-2 on the past weekend. So, you guys were 2-0 against Washburn. That was a 16-13 win on Friday. I think that went in the extras, right?
The Friday game, no, was not. It was the
That
Saturday game that went into
It was
extra.
a
Yes.
Saturday that was 4-3.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
Mhm.
16-13 on Friday, then 4-3 on Sunday against Washburn. And then you lost 13-9 against Drury, who's a top 25 team in the country. I think they were 24 at the time when you guys played them. And then Missouri S&T, 11-10, another one-run ball game. So give us kind of a little recap of what you saw last week. And again, 2-2 isn't great, but it's not awful. So
Yeah, we kind of got bit by the injury bug, and so we had some guys playing out of position, so to speak. And as a matter of fact, our top three outfielders defensively were actually injured. Carter Thomas and Joey Humphrey was actually
okay.
sick on Friday. We got him back on Saturday and Sunday. And then Nathan Jessup, who's an excellent defensive outfielder too, as well, was dealing with an ankle sprain, and so we had some guys playing out of position, and it was a learning process for
Yeah.
them out there, and they're getting better. They're getting better. There's no question about it. But yeah, we made a few mistakes, and unfortunately, it cost us in a couple scenarios. But it wasn't necessarily the defense their fault at all. We haven't put together a complete consistent. I mean, we've had one game here, one game there where we played defense, and we've swung the bats pretty well, but we haven't put it together consistently over the course of an entire weekend,
Right.
so to speak. So I do believe, though, that we're getting closer. We've got we're going to shake up our rotation this weekend. After 15 games now, it's been we have a chance to evaluate where we're at.
Mhm.
I think we're going to line up a little bit better on the mound, and of course, we're swinging the bats pretty good. The two losses that we
Yeah.
had, we spotted the other team six in the first game. We spotted Drury six, and we came back and tied it up
Yeah.
6-6, and then we spotted S&T nine, and we came back and took the lead 10-9 in the ninth, and didn't work out for us, but nonetheless, I will say this: we never quit. We're never out of a game, ever out of
Well,
a game. We never quit.
that's what I've seen. I mean, watching the games and even the ones that I can't watch, watching, looking at the recap, it looks like you guys get down maybe early, but again, it's not like they roll over and die. It's, they keep fighting back with that. So, that's I think an important indicator of a team dynamic from that standpoint is, hey, are we going to go out there and fight all 9 innings or 7 innings, whatever you're playing, or just get down ourselves after we get down 9, 8, 5 runs, whatever it might be. So I think that's a good indicator, especially early on. And ideally, hopefully some of those one-run games turn into wins, right? And I think that kind of also changes the dynamic of the team a little bit and kind of how people look at things going into conference play as
Yeah,
well,
I
right?
I couldn't agree more. I feel like those one run games are gonna a lot of those outcomes moving forward are going to be in our favor. It's easy to look at a 50 game regular season and say, okay, well, you had this amount of one run losses, but all that matters is at the end of the year. The end of the year, are you playing? Are you playing Greyhound baseball towards the end of the year? Are you firing on all cylinders? Are you hot? And that's all that matters. And so as long as we're winning those games at the end of the year when it counts, that's what matters.
Yeah. And, again, you've had what, 15 non-conference games so far. I know, again, you mentioned this, I think, a week or two ago, at the first pitch dinner, you mentioned this debates that, hey, if we could end up with, 7-9 or something, you feel pretty confident going into conference play. So you're sitting right there, you're 6-9, right? I know you'd rather have, be above 500 or even, but, you had some close games, a lot of travel involved as well, some nightmare travels. It sounded like as well, which obviously plays into that. So, you got a game this weekend against McKendree State over in Illinois. Again, not a huge travel. Weather's getting better outside, so no snow and ice to deal with, hopefully. What's that look like? So talk ahead a little bit ahead at the this
Yeah,
series coming up. Got a four
yeah.
game set.
So I think the first 15 games, you remember playing for Coach Vaught all those years. He always talked about the three seasons. Your pre-conference games, then your conference season starts, which that's coming up beginning tomorrow for us. Again, everybody's 0-0 starting tomorrow. And then, of course, your postseason. So Coach Vaught always used to talk about the three seasons. I still use that today. And I think we said, hey, in the first 12, if we could be 5-7, we're gonna, we're gonna be sitting pretty in a pretty good spot. So yeah, that's exactly what we were. After Fridays, the first game on Friday, we were 5-7, and now we're 6-9. I think last year at this time we were somewhere around 6-10 and hosted the regional. So I point that out too as well. So we're sitting in a good spot. We just got to put it together. And McKendree is not going to be a pushover by all means. They're a team that, if you don't play good baseball, they can beat you. And Tim Gurneau over there has done a good job with those guys. And I did get a chance to see them play down at Missouri Southern. They were down there with that little round robin thing we did with Mankato State, Missouri Southern, and McKendree. Of course, we did not play because we play each other in conference. But I did get the chance to see them play, and they're scrappy and they got a little juice. And of course, if we don't execute our game plan, they can beat you just like anybody.
Right. That's the great thing about baseball, though, right? I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. Anybody can win the game, right? It's not like football where you've got the biggest and fastest, right? And they've got the edge. Baseball's a little bit different. I mean, even looking at a lot of these D1 games, LSU getting upset and a huge upset in all these D1s programs against some, maybe some mid-majors. So, again, you're never out of it, right? Regardless of who you're playing or what that staff looks like and things. And it goes back to, I think, what you said. You guys start hitting on all cylinders, putting the pitching together, defense together, and the bats stay hot like they are. You guys are a tough team, and now that you're moving into conference play, season 2, I think a new season starts, right? You're basically, do you view it as you're 0-0 right now? Is that how you're viewing it?
That in conference, that's exactly what we are. We're 0-0 now. Of course, those first 15 games they matter in the
For sure.
big picture, the bigger picture. But conference play is. I mean, you doesn't matter what your record is if you don't make your conference tournament. I mean, that's
right.
If you don't make your conference tournament, you're not going to move on beyond the regular season. So conference is important.
Yeah. So for conference play, besides the Hounds, who are the teams to look at after in conference play this year? Who are the ones you guys have your eyes set on?
Yeah. So of course, our conference has so many teams in it that the schedule's unbalanced, so we don't get to play everybody. And that was kind of the point of this past weekend, getting to play Drury, Missouri S&T, two of the better teams in the conference. I would put both of those teams in the mix after seeing them play. Of course, Missouri S&T won the conference tournament last year, and so you can't discount that. And Drury has always had a solid program over there. Scott Nasby does a great job. And, so I would put those two teams in the mix. Of course, we don't have a series against them this year. But I would, just looking at the standings, it's the usual suspects up there. Quincy's going to be a battle. I know Maryville's towards the bottom of the standings right now in terms of just wins and losses overall right now. But you got to figure they're going to be, they'll catch fire at some point. There's UIS, Illinois Springfield, is probably, in my opinion, the front runner. In that regard, they've always got a tough program over there, and Chris Rodriguez, their new head coach, does a good job. So I would put them up there too as well.
Okay. So you're looking forward to McKendree State. You said you're going to be, changing up the rotation a little bit. You've got some guys maybe coming back from injury. Maybe they might still be injured or not 100%. UND's known for their athletic program, though, their athletic training program. So you've got a good core there of hopefully getting those guys back healthy.
I've got a great athletic
So,
trainer. I've got a great athletic trainer. Yeah, it's James Woolner. He does a great job for us and keeping our guys healthy. And we're getting Nathan Jessup back this weekend, and we're going to have to wait another week on Carter Thomas, but we're slowly getting healthy.
Good. Well, I think getting healthy at the right time. I mean, that's always important. Starting to click at the right time. That's important, especially going to the conference play. So, get a take 4 this weekend. Get off to a quick start in conference play. I think is going to be really important. Again, that definitely helps the morale of the team, especially going to the conference play. I remember back in the day when we played. You always want to take, at least 3 out of the 4. You win every series, you're sitting good at the end of the conference play.
Absolutely. That's a good game plan.
Good. Well, hey man, I know we only had about 15 minutes here today, but I appreciate you taking the time to do this new segment called Behind the Dish.
Yep.
Anything else you want to end with?
I think also one thing to watch for this weekend too is McKendree's field is, if you have a chance to take a peek at it on Google Maps or something like that, it does have it's kind of has that Johnson City, Tennessee feel to it. It's got it's nice. A little bigger to left field, but to right field, it's got the tall fence in right field, and it's a little shorter. So, just to put it in perspective, McKendree's series last weekend versus Upper Iowa was at home, and McKendree hit 12 home runs. So in that series, so I did take a look at the wind, and it is blowing in that direction. So there could be, it could be one of those days.
We'll keep the ball low on the defensive side, the pitching staff, right? And then
I've always said if we've got the short game when the wind's blowing in, and we can win on those days. But if the wind's blowing out and you want to play home run derby, well, we can do that too.
Well, it could be an exciting weekend. If they got the short porch, wind is blowing out. Hopefully, you guys can score a bunch. You keep them to the very few. That's the goal. So hopefully, it's not any of these football scores that we've seen in the past. But that's the thing. You never know. So
that's why you play
be
the
interested
games.
Kind of watching that series this weekend.
Yep. Well, sounds good, man. Well, thanks again for having me on.
Hey, Al, appreciate it. And hey, safe travels out there. Best of luck to you guys this weekend. We'll be watching and cheering you on. Good luck.
And I hope Bates is feeling better too as well.
Yeah, we got him a shot for that Zika bug, so he should be all right. I think he'd be good.
All right. Sounds good. Take care.
Thanks, Al.